Well, thank you, and welcome to Target Cloud's latest 1 hour workout, which today will be an introduction to Zoho Connect, an all-encompassing product that can do lots of things and gather lots of information together. Today, I'll be your 1 hour workout coach. I'm Duncan, I'm the Client Services Manager at Target Cloud. And today, our plan is to have a quick overview on what Zoho Connect is. Then we'll look at navigating around Zoho Connect. Then we'll look at the settings of Zoho Connect. And then if we need it, we'll have a quick break. And then we'll have a big overview of the Zoho Connect features and how we can set them up and start planning to use Zoho Connect to share information throughout our organization or with our clients if required. And then if there's any Q&A, we'll have a quick cool down Q&A at the end. Okay, without any further ado, let's go over to our Zoho Connect instance. Firstly, we'll just show you the front page here, which is showing the feed for Zoho Connect. And hopefully it might seem familiar in a way because you'll have information, you'll have maybe used social media where you have discussions going on. So this is a very similar interface, but there's so much within Connect that it will look different and work differently. But the really good thing is lots of things are all connected together. The first thing to point out is I've browsed to connect.zoho.com. This is a demo system provided by Zoho, so it's on the .com data center. And if it's part of Zoho 1, you would find it in your Zoho 1 panel and be set up with it via this Zoho Connect here. And we can open it via that function, or indeed via your dashboard and your applications. Okay. So let's go into Zoho Connect and let's have a quick chat about what is Zoho Connect. Well, the bottom line is Zoho Connect is an intranet and can also be an extranet. So an intranet is where you can communicate internally and externally, if it's an extranet, with all your users and your customers or clients if required. So it can be set up on a permissions basis where you could have invite external people to your intranet. But basically it allows you to have lots of different tools within one area that you can publish on a URL and invite people to contribute to it. And there's lots of ways that you can contribute and discuss various topics, whether it's a specific project or whether it's a subject that's ongoing within the company, and it allows you to discuss this. Some of the tools in Connect are already available within Zoho 1, such as tasks, for example, but this adds them into an intranet and does allow you to integrate other Zoho applications and non-Zoho applications together. Okay, so there it is. It's an intranet and can be set up as an extranet. So the first thing we're going to do is look around at all the icons that we have in the Connect software, around the left-hand side, the right-hand side, and across the top, to just quickly look at what these mean. So the first thing we're looking at is the feeds. Now these feeds are things or projects or areas that you are a member of, and information is posted up to keep you up to date on things that are going on within your company or within specific projects that are happening. As you can see here, we've got my own feed. That's things that I'm a member of. We've got a company wall, which is actually shared throughout the company for all users in the company. And it's information can be posted that will keep you informed and up to date on what's happening. You have a schedule, which is showing any tasks that are available, and any groups under there that you're a member of, and we'll discuss groups later on. In fact, groups are here, so you can see there was a Christmas party group, and you can see I'm a member of what is a Christmas party group. And you need to be, this is fundamental to Connect in that you create groups which you have specific subjects or topics to discuss and you invite the people you want to be members of that into that group. And that's where you can then start adding things such as tasks, which is listed down here. And as you can see, we've got the tasks listed already for this Christmas party. I'll just jump up to my tasks and you can see that we've got a task listed there. Next, we have manuals. Well, I must say that tasks is very powerful and can be integrated with other aspects such as Zoho projects, which we do have set up, so you'll see that, and we'll also integrate it with CRM tasks later on. Manuals is where we can add manuals relating to the various topics or groups that we have set up, and these manuals can be split into chapters, articles, and lots of information such as online HR, policy guides, and other guidance can be added there to allow staff to see things in one place. So this is very powerful, and again, we will create that later on. There's also an area for files. It's not meant to be a replacement for your normal file storage area, such as Zoho Work Drive or Microsoft OneDrive, but it will allow you to add company files into here specific to topics that are set up in the groups and tasks that you've created. So it's kind of more easily accessible in one place relating to a particular project. So you don't have to go searching through your folder structure for that information. The next one down here is what we call a town hall, which is quite a unique feature in Connect. And it's what's called or known as an Ask Me Anything or AMA area, where you create, it's like a town hall meeting room. So I think you could liken it to a meeting in a public environment, such as a town hall, and people are invited to listen to panelists and ask questions and get the answers back. Well, this is all done virtually, and you can set it up that the panelists can answer, attendees can answer, or otherwise. And we'll have a closer look at that later on. Obviously, events is, as it says, it is a calendar, and this can be related to lots of different groups or events that are set up within Connect, and you can integrate other calendars into here, so you can get a good overview on what's happening in all your different calendars. And this one specifically, the most powerful aspect of it is the company events, and where you can post events and things that are happening for everybody to see in this single area, as well as being able to integrate individual calendars in that only that user will see. Channels are also where we can look up different aspects of communication, and we can create discussions with other people. For example, in this Christmas party one, you could start chatting with other participants of the channel, and that's created when you start building up new groups. Custom apps is something not particularly used in the clients we speak to, but it enables you to add custom applications that may be built in something like Zoho Creator and add them to the Zoho Connect environment. But we won't look at that in too much depth. And this last one you see on the left here is the survey. And this is because we have integrated Zoho Survey with Zoho Connect. And you can post out surveys and get the replies and save them all in one little area. Finally, down here, we've got the More button. We've got an area called Forums, where you can create new forums and have topics to discuss. And as it says, share information such as newsletters. And again, you know, it's not, we won't focus too closely on this today, but that is just available as part of Zoho Connect. And in this More button, you also have the ability to reorder your applications. And you also can add web tabs, which are links out to other URLs, websites, whether internal or external, that you may want to give people access to as part of Zoho Connect. Okay, so that's us listed on the left-hand side. Let's just move over to the right-hand side I'll just quickly look at these settings here. We've got what we call the settings cog, and this is allowing you to look at all the settings of Connect. So you're setting it up correctly for the right people with the right permissions. And we'll look at that in one of the next sections. In this area, you can invite new users to use Connect. You can see usage details, and you can also look at your subscription. And we'll see these in other areas as well. So these can be accessed via different areas where we can invite users. And for example, we've got this people button here, and this is where you can add and invite users. Here we've got the integrations button. Again, we'll look at that later on and integrate a couple of applications to show you how easy and powerful that is. We've got moderation, which allows you to moderate feeds and any forums that you might have in case of any abuse, for example. And you can switch that on as part of the creation of the topics that or groups that you're creating. You can also set up video conference meetings, whether they're straight away or whether they're planned as a scheduled event or scheduled video conference. And finally, we have Zoho Showtime here, which allows you to create presentations very similar to the webinars that we're doing just now. They're using Zoho Meeting webinar software, but maybe a little bit more powerful, and allows you to add presentations and be part of an online presentation live with video chat. And that's integrated with Zoho Showtime as part of the integrations. Down at the bottom here, we've got an integration with a small Zoho app called Notebook, which is very powerful. We can add tasks, to-do lists, and upload photographs and attachments in here. And it is like an expanded sort of post-it notepad where you can make information that's relevant to your daily work. We've got the help functionality that allows you to access Zoho's help center and contact them directly. And this small switch to night mode button allows you to toggle between a dark and light interface on Zoho Connect. And finally here, we've got a hide widgets button. So if I select this, you'll see some information disappears from the main screen. And these are called widgets, and they're just little bits of extra information that you can give your users to allow them to have more functionality in Zoho Connect. And these are managed by this Manage Widgets area here, where we can switch on and off these different widgets. Or you can create links to, as we do with the web links, you can create links to other URLs for people to see in here. I'm just going to cancel that, but you can add and remove these as required. Finally, up at the top here, you'll see obviously your profile picture, giving you details of your subscription. We've got reminders in this area here, or notifications that come via any mentions or emails or notifications. Here we've got the plus button, which is like a quick add, so you can do some quick addition of items or things related to the areas on the left-hand side. So you could create tasks or start a poll and make announcements via this quick add button here. And then, of course, we've got a time tracker should you want to track what you're doing within the Zoho Connect environment, although that's more relevant for any tasks that you may have. Okay, so that's really us covered what is around the outside and some of the little functions you see round and about. So hopefully I'll give you a little overview of what can be done. There's obviously lots more within each area, within the feeds and the groups, the different changes that you see and the tasks. And we'll cover these as and when we proceed to show you some real live examples of adding data to Zoho Connect. Okay, so the next section we want to look at is looking at the settings of Zoho Connect. So we're going to look at Zoho Connect settings. So we had a quick look here at the settings, this cog, and it's the one here with the spanner on it we want to look at. And we'll quickly go through this. We're not going to go in depth and set up anything in particular, but it's to make you aware of what you can do here and do make sure that it is done correctly as part of the build. In network settings, it's quite important here. We'll just select on the items that are in here. If we select network settings, we get the menu appears on the left, and you can see we can change the name of the network. So I've already set this name and I can save it, but I could change it if required. We also have a URL we can customize. And if you see that no frills there is also appearing up here. So that can be customized. You can also add your own custom domains to this, and that's done later on in the settings area. And that is in the sort of customization area. So if I quickly look there, it'll jump over here. We can set up logos, custom coding for websites. You may want to get it to your style of your own website, particularly if you're letting external users or external customers access it. You can add your custom domain name, which means it would map across the top of your URL that people link to. So it wouldn't mention the Zoho words, it would just be your domain name. You can customize email, and here you can add templates. So let's again click back on the settings. Again, in this area, user profiles, you can add and manage the different users you've invited. Let's go to apps and features. You can enable or disable some of the features and apps that you have in Zoho Connect. Some you may or may not want your users to see. We set policies in here. And for example, it's who can see what aspects of Zoho Connect. Is it only admins that can create various different things throughout Connect, or everyone? And we often suggest it would be admins only, to be honest. And then you manage those users, you give specific users the admin access. Notifications, we can turn on and off email notifications, and there will appear with the bell at the top of the right hand side. And you can even specify a digest, so it's sent out once a day. Rather than all notifications being sent immediately, they can be bundled into a daily summary. Analytics gives us an overview of what's happening within different areas, such as the feeds and the groups and tasks that we saw on the left hand side. It gives you an overview of what's happening with all the tasks that are open and various things that have been added. And we'll look at what these mean in the next sections. We've looked at customization. The final part here is import and export, where we can import data from two other existing intranet type software. It's Yammer and Workplace by Facebook. But we can also export data out of the CRM. Sorry, the Zoho Connect. Finally, this Zoho directory, it's a bit in depth. We won't look at that, but it's just a more technical, allows you to do various different things as an administrator of Zoho Connect and Zoho One. Okay, so let's go back to the main screen. I click the Connect icon on the top left-hand side there. And that's just covered the settings in that area there. As I said, there is different ways that kind of repeat. So you can also invite users here, as well as via the full settings menu. So there are little other icons that appear that allow you to do different things. I mean, the other one here is the usage details, which gives you an overview of what's happening within the Zoho Connect environment. Okay, so let's look at the Zoho Connect features on the left-hand side in a bit more depth and start adding some information to show you how effective and easy it is to be able to add these. So setting up a group is the first aspect I'd like to look at here. So we have one group set up called Christmas Party, but we want to set up a new group, and groups are fundamental to Connect, where you have separate groups, and inside those groups you have lots of other features such as your manuals, tasks that are specific to those groups and allow specific groups of people who will be maybe different amongst all the different information you're using to collaborate and communicate with each other. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is create a new group. So down at the bottom here, I can create new group. And let's say we're a gig management company. So we're going to create a group name that's going to manage how we go ahead with setting up concerts and gigs in the post-COVID environment. So I'm creating this new group. You can have it set to private, so only members of this group can access it, or you can make it public to anyone in the network, so the network being pretty much all your users. So they can only post in the group, but only group members can access the applications within. But I'm going to keep this as private just now. And then I want to add my members. I've only got one other user that I've set up, and that's an internal user of Zoho. So I'll add them. And I will create a channel for this group. And this will add it to Zoho Click, which is the sort of messaging communication software used by Zoho. And I'll also add it to a Zoho mail group. I'll select create. So now we've got this gig management post CV19 added in here. And immediately it's created different areas where I have feeds, manuals, events, and survey. So they're already added in here. And you saw them on the left-hand side earlier in the introduction. So now I've got this group set up and I've described it, I've set up the permissions. Let's have a look at Zoho Click. And what we'll see here, hopefully, in Click on the left-hand side, is this new channel called Gig Management Post CV19. And it allows you to communicate separately in Zoho Click. And that's something that we use heavily within our own environment. We discuss things a lot using Zoho Click, but it's also added this channel from Zoho Connect, and anything mentioned in Zoho Connect will appear in this group, will appear in Zoho Click. So that's really quite powerful. Okay, so we have created our new group. I'll just refresh this page. It's a different instance here, and there's our new group called Gig Management Post CV19. So if I select that, we're now in this instance of a specific group, and it shows us as private. Okay, so we've created a group, but we'll now just move on to tasks. And the tasks area is very powerful here. And what you can see here is the board that we have, which allows you to set up sections, as they're called, so specific features or requirements under this group that we set up, and allows you to add tasks to it. So what we've got to do first in here, as we've created a new group, so we'll go back to groups, we see this gig management group. We now want to set up what's called a board to allow us to create tasks. So the first thing we do is go down to the bottom here and select new board. And this new board will be called I like to keep it the same, so easy to identify. So it's the same name as the group, but with board written at the end. Okay, and I'm just going to put that in the description. So the board is really what we post our tasks onto. So we need to create this board after creating the group. And now I'm asked here, do I want to associate this board with a group? And yes, I do. So I tick this. I want to associate it with that new group that we just created. And that's down here, Gig Management Post CV19. And then I'll select create. So now we've got this board created, and you can see this has been added into the boards list on the left here, and we're in the tasks. So It's a little bit to do with terminology. To start adding tasks to a specific group, we need to create a board within that group that we created. Now we've got this board, we need to start creating sections. So you don't, we could create some tasks without having to create these boards or sections, but we want to work specifically on this topic of gig management. So I'm going to create sections which split this topic into different areas. So the first one might be to look at PPE, equipment needs. Okay, so that's a section. I may want to create another section which will look at the host venues, CV policies. And then finally I may want to host venues, CV policies. So that's now created. I click into the box there, and maybe a final one would be health information. So something to do with looking after health or how we deal with any potential issues there. So we've created 3 tasks, 3 sections, and they're in this Kanban view. So if I click here, you'll see this list view is here, and it's split the sections in a list. But we, really promote the Kanban view, which is used in section view. And we can also get other views based on status, assignees, due dates, priorities. And we'll look at that once we start adding some tasks. So effectively, we've now created, that disappeared. I want to delete that. I just duplicated that by accident. So we've got these host venues, CV policies. Now we can start adding tasks with the plus buttons underneath each section. So let's create a task. So there we have a task. I just click out of that area and it's added it. I can now assign that to another user or myself. And again, if I actually click the area there, I can get some more details that I can add to this task. And you can see we've also got a timer. So we can set the due dates. We can set priority and reminders. So it's very similar to tasks that you'll have dealt with already. We can even add tags, for example, so we can search for anything related to the subject. So I typed in what I wanted and hit enter. So a tag's been added. There we go. So I'll create the tag, then choose it. So that's a task that we've created, and we've added some more information in there. And you can see the due date. Let's add one to the host venues. So we're going to look for some safe venues. Click out of the area. I then can click back in, and the task will allow me to add more detail. As yet unassigned, so I'll assign it. Again, I'll set some due dates and set a priority. And again, I could add a task, a tag, sorry. So hit enter, then choose it. Okay. Another thing to note here is you can add checklists in here. So we can check 1, check 2. So there may be a list of things that are needed to do under this specific task. And we've now added this checklist. And then finally, some health information. We could say we want to order test kits in preparation for this. So again, click out and add a checklist, source the kits, test the kits, and so on. We could do a lot more. And I'll assign this to myself. You set a reminder, but I'll just set the due date again. That'll be quite a way ahead. And I'm going to set priority again of high. Okay, so very similar to normal tasks, but we're creating these tasks within this specific group and subject area. on this board. So we have the group, we add a board on which we can add sections to add tasks into. Now you can see it now started allocating these tasks. We can look on the left here and you can see these tasks are listed here. You'll also note there's a list of Zoho projects tasks because of the integration, which we'll look at later. So it shows how powerful it is to bring all your different tasks into one area. And you can see also tasks under here for Zoho projects. So these are tasks that I own within Zoho projects, and I can use, you can see I own these ones here, but not these. You can drag and drop and deal with these tasks in projects from Zoho Connect, and it will be updated live. You'll also see that the tasks are split between different boards. So I can select all the boards or just one of them. Select done. You can see they're just related to one of them or all. Again, very powerful. And even the checklists are not shown yet because I don't think the task was allocated to me. Okay. So we're in the gig management board and we've got the tasks added, and it's very powerful. A lot of information that you can add there. As I said, now we've created some tasks, we can look at the different views we have. So we can look at the priority view. So you see it lists them and how the importance that we set when we created them. We can look at the status view, whether they're open, started, and as ever with the Kanban view, we can drag and drop the different tasks into different areas, and it will update each task internally live. So it's in progress. And you can also see other views, the assignee view, unassigned, and the users that you've allocated to. So again, very powerful. And I think the Zoho Connect Kanban view is probably the most powerful of all the views we have throughout the CRM, the Zoho One suite. And it'd be great if we see this coming more into CRM, for example. Okay, so I'm just going to go back down to the section view. And this is split based on the topics I created within this group or board. Okay, so now we'll move on to the next subject, which is manuals. So we've got manuals down here. And you can see we have one manual in here based on one of the groups we've already set up. Again, we've got this dashboard. We can add company manuals, which are not just related to one group, but to many of them. And we can look at other details, and these will become more apparent as we go on. Okay, so let's add some manuals specifically to the gig management post CV19 group. So select this area and we click new manual. So we want to put the manual name in. I'm going to give it the same name as the group. And we'll set this up. Again, you can add contributors. So you could add individual users, or you could add anyone that you've actually set up in the group that you created at the start. So I think I will do that, allow them to contribute, and then we'll click create. So what we've now done is create a single manual environment for this new group that we set up. Now within the manuals, we then create articles. So you can have lots of different articles bundled in to this area. And what we'll show you as well is how you can split them between chapters and different pieces of information. However, we'll just go ahead and create an article now. And we'll come back to these icons about publishing afterwards. So I'll create this article. So the first thing you'll see is we have an sort of text editing software, a bit like Zoho Writer or Microsoft Word. And we can give this article a name. So it could be types of PPE. We can add a tag. You see it's different. We still have to add the new one, but we could add a tag. It's not picked it up from the other area, which is a slight limitation, but we can still add that tag. We can start entering some content. So let's put this as an introduction. Just writing some text here so that we can see how you can manipulate that. So I'm just going for this just now. Introduction, I've highlighted that. I'm just showing how you can use this text editor to put a heading, another heading, and then some text. We can also add attachments if required. You can see just at the bottom here. Now we've got this area called choose a chapter. I'm not going to touch this just now, but I will in the next example. I'm just going to click saved. So what we're going to have is just a pure list of different articles. We've got an article here, but it's not under a chapter heading. It's just part of this manual, but we can split this between chapters. So what I'm going to do is add another new article, and let's just quickly look at our boards. So we're going to call it host venues. I'll go back into the manual, start creating, open this up, and you see this here. I'm going to click new article, and we'll call it host venues. And again, I'll just add some text here as an example, and I'll click save. I then have to close that, saved it in the background, and you now see we've got two articles here. Now we want to try and split these. So we've got boards that have got sections on them, and that might help us relate this to a chapter. So let's create some chapters. There's two ways to do this. So once we're in the manual here, I can select the three dots here, the ellipses, and manage chapters and articles. So I'm going to click this plus button now that's there. You can see your articles. I'm going to create a chapter. I'm going to call it PP information. I'll click create, and you can now see this different icon, which means it's a chapter. And then I can drag and drop the articles that I may want to be in there. So I'll click create now. And it's created it already actually. Close that down, and you now see on the left here, we've got this chapter on the left with the types of PP article underneath there. So I created that chapter from the front end of the manual. But there's another way to do it. I can go to the host venues. I can open by editing it, and then I can choose a chapter. So you can see the one I've created already there, but I can create a new one while I'm in the article. So I'll just call this venues. Press enter, click, and then save. Then I have to close that to get back. I'll refresh this page now, and you can see we've now got a chapter called venues with host venues underneath it. And this is how you can go on. You could pre-prepare before going to connect your big articles and manuals, but you can do them from scratch from within Connect and quickly and easily add them to the correct chapters, the correct manuals, and also create them at the same time. And there's other things you can do, such as favorite the manual. So I'll do that and we'll see what the effect is in a minute. But beware, we haven't published these yet, so they may not be available to all the users depending on their admin rights or non-admin rights. So we have to do two things. We have to publish the manual, and I'll say yes, publish. But then we have to go into each of the articles. So we're in host venues here, and also publish them separately. I'll click the next article and publish that. And there we have that now published. So if I go to manuals button on the left, you'll now see we've got our favorite manuals at the top because I favorited it, and the new manual listed down here. So we've got the two groups, Christmas Party and Gig Management, and they have the manuals in there. So again, just a quick introduction to manuals, but also how easy it is to set these up and create them within Zoho Connect. And of course, there's lots more menu items for you to review as part of their creation. Okay, so I'm going to jump past files and I want to go to Town Hall. Now, Town Hall is quite a unique feature of the Connect environment with Zoho. And what it is, it's, as I mentioned earlier, it's like an Ask Me Anything area. It's like you go to your local council open meeting and you're allowed to set up question and answers to a panel of people. So this is effectively doing it on a virtual basis. So we're going to the Town Hall and create new Town Hall. You can see we've already got one set up with different sessions. So we're creating a Town Hall. Again, I'll give it the same name. And then you select when the sessions start. So you may want it to start now or schedule for later. Let's just schedule it for tomorrow. And we'll select the time. And then you can add panelists. So I'm going to only add one user here. You can select attendees. So it could be everyone or just the members of this group we've created. So I suggest we just do that for now, but you could invite others. You can also set participants to answer questions, but in this case, I just want the panelists to do that. So if I schedule that, you can see we've now created a Town Hall instance for the gig management. So if I go back to Town Hall here, you can see it's now set as an upcoming session. And there's already a live one going on. So in here, when we click Start Now, the participants will be notified about this. Okay. And now I select the participants there and go to the gig management queries. I'm now in the gig management group up here at the top. So go back to the Town Hall. You can see I've now set this as live. Select Ask a Question. Doesn't matter what it is here. Click Ask. And you can see, I'll close that down. You can see that now appears in this session within the Town Hall. And those who are allowed to answer are allowed to add an answer. And the great thing about this is you can have this session for going on for however long with lots of questions and answers, and then it will be saved as a Town Hall event in this area here. Okay, so that's a quick overview of Town Halls. So the next section here we'll look at is events. And as it suggests, it's a calendar. It's adding all the events we create into a calendar that you can see based on the permissions that you've been given or the permissions you give to an end user. You can pin down to each event here to see what events are coming, and you'll see them listed in here. And company events is one of the most powerful ones. Here, as an administrator of the company event, you can add events in here for all to see. So again, you go over to the new event here. We looked at how you can add what's called showtime, but we won't cover that just now. But you can add a new event. And just quickly add this new event. And we'll set the start date for, let's see. The calendar isn't appearing. I'm just going to refresh my page. I'm on the company events. I want to create a new event. It's not letting me create that for some reason. Maybe it's because of the company wall. I think it'll be, we want to add new events here. So all the events that you have appearing in the different areas and different groups will all appear on the company wall once created. So I'm just going to basically invite everyone in the network, post the event on the feed, and create. So that new event is now been added there for tomorrow. And if I go to company events, that appears there. So So any events that are added as parts of groups will appear in here. So again, you can see how easy it is to add these events. I mentioned about the show time here. That can be pre-configured to allow you to use, it's basically a presentation software that Zoho provide. So really, this is an events button, but it's really a calendar. And the calendar can have its own settings as well. So you can start these on a different date and give it a different format. And there's a potential to create your own types of events. Although I won't cover that just now, but it allows you to sort of template the type of events you want to add. Okay, and we will also now look at the integrations that you can add. So you can integrate lots of different calendars in here. So you could give users the ability to integrate their own personal calendars from things such as, we'll have a look here. If I go and look for a calendar, you can see Google Calendar, Office Calendar, Outlook, and Zoho. Immediately, we could add them. So if people want to add their own personal calendars from Zoho CRM, they'd be able to do that through the integrations. So as you can see, this is very powerful, with the main overarching one being company events. Okay, so the final part of our introduction to Zoho Connect I would like to look at is integrations. So I'll select the button here. So we're on the right-hand side. And if I toggle down to integrations or move down to integrations, you saw this here. So what we can say is, you saw that we had Zoho Projects is already set up and enabled. So if I click Zoho Projects, but I really want to go to Manage, scroll down to Zoho Projects, you can see it's approved, and that means it's integrated. However, we didn't have our Zoho CRM tasks set up. So if I click into a different environment, let's go to the tasks. We can see Zoho Projects here, but not Zoho CRM. So let's go over to a different instance of the Connect and go to CRM tasks. And I'm going to select Approve. That is now as simple as it is. I could have gone into it and I click Enabled or Disabled, and that's it now enabled. So if I go back and refresh this other tab, you will now see Zoho CRM tasks are listed here. So it's as easy and simple as that. We now have a list of all our Zoho CRM tasks and a list of all our Zoho Projects tasks, all in one place, as well as the Connect tasks up here. You'll also notice when you go to My Tasks, you have now a new tab next to Zoho Projects, which was already there, with a list of all the tasks that you have from these specific integrations. So it's as simple as doing that. Let's go back to the integrations tab here. I'm going to go back to all. And one other thing I'd like to show you about integrating, you see that Zoho Showtime is listed here, but I want to add Zoho Meeting. So I can create meetings or events using Zoho Meeting. So select Zoho Meeting, I go to Manage, and then go to Zoho Meeting. There's certain different ways you can do this. So when I open Zoho Meeting, it hasn't got the Enable button. So I need to make sure I go back to the list called Manage and click Approve. And now that should be integrated with Zoho Connect. So it will appear on the right-hand side once I refresh. And you can see here we now have Zoho Meeting added on the right-hand side. So we can add new meetings using Zoho Meeting, invite all our members, schedule this. So let's schedule it for for later in the week. We'll schedule that. Close this down. I go to events on the left-hand side. Go to company events. and you'll see that this meeting is now set up there. So that is, and you can see the icon for Zoho Meeting, that's it set up there. And we're using Zoho Conference and Zoho Meeting for that. So that's a quick introduction to the integrations, but again, shows you how easy it is. But the most powerful one really, I think, is this task management, where you've got your tasks on the left-hand side from different software, all bundled into the same area, and even more so within this area here. And you can also use the Kanban views when you open that up, and any changes will be live in the other software. Okay. So that's the end of the presentation, really. We've covered what is Zoho Connect. We've looked at how you navigate around Zoho Connect, and then I had an overview of the settings menus where you can configure as required. We then had a good look at the Zoho Connect features and added new groups, new boards, new sections to those boards, which allow us to add tasks. We looked at how we can create events very easily. And we also looked at how you can integrate different pieces of software within here. Now, as I say, this is an introduction to Zoho Connect. It can obviously get a bit more in depth, but this shows you how powerful it is and how useful it'll be to have everything that you need in just one place. Okay, look forward to meeting you at our next Zoho 1 hour workout, and we will speak to you soon.